Hello and welcome back to Masquerada Songs and Shadows. So we are investigating some missing people and some murders.
My brother is missing. At least let me speak to the Valencio.
Your color isn't welcome here.
A member of the Blue Guild. Here. A curious sight indeed. You can take care of yourself? I'm not a child, Tristan.
Really?
Get out.
Really? This is a lore spot. The Simora and guild politics. The 6 guilds of Ombre are collectively known as the Simora, and they comprise the Sorel Damar, the Luca Infinata, the Labor Solis, the Altus Nobilis, the Daisy Sovrana, and the Cacciator. Though these are certainly by no means the only guilds in the city has ever known, they are the only ones that have withstood the whittling test of time, and together with the registry make up all the Masquerade of the Citte. Despite their commonality in possessing Mascherines, however, the Simora are rife with disagreement, and the politics that course between them are far too convoluted to spell out simply. Suffice to say, it is nearly impossible to bring all of the Simora together in a single room without having them at each other's throats. That sounds about right. Alright, I think this is where I'm going to get a Masquerine. Here we go.
Inspectore,
At ease.
I was not told to expect you, sir.
I don't suppose you were. But here I am. And I need a Masquerine.
Right this way, sir. I do apologize in advance. Our selection of Mascherines has diminished since the war began.
It's all right. I'm not picky.
Beautiful, isn't it?
I'd like a Masquerine now, please.
All right. First things first. Your element, sir.
Cyrus? What are you doing?
Sir?
What? I apologize. What was the question?
Your element.
Right. Of course.
We have the gifts to burn and smelt, to set aflame pyres for his glory. And seas will roar and clouds will cry. The versatile ability suited for any scenario, the strength of water brand lies in their fluid adaptability and potential to shift the tides of battle in myriad ways. One moment a water brand could be bolstering their allies, the next summoning spikes of ice. Mold landscape. Firebrands, fine line between blazing brightly and burning out, their unmatched inclination towards destruction often leaves them the target of many foes' offense, but the firebrands have learned how to draw strength from the maelstrom cast around them. I don't know. I'm leaning towards fire or water. Fire seems offensive. I feel like there'll be like healing in here. I don't know. I don't know. Let's take fire. Yeah, sure.
I'm a firebrand.
And the last time you used a Masquerine?
5 years.
Vamos tests?
Distinctions.
Accreditor?
60th percentile. Explains why I didn't turn out to be one of the Vegelers.
All right, sir. It'll take me no more than a heartbeat.
We need the Masquerine, Cicero. You're its custodian, and you're an imposter. Going around with that stupid cape of yours? Have you forgotten where your loyalty...
Are you almost done, Valis?
Just finished, sir.
You don't know what you've started, brother. Change. That's what. Change for the Contadani, our people.
Here it is, sir.
Come with me. Come with me, Cicero. No.
Sir?
Thank you, Malice.
Interesting. M and C. Okay, so we'll check the lore here first. You are not serious, Cyrus said, as a smile began to blossom upon his lips. You can't be serious. Are you serious? I held up the paperwork. Everything's been signed for. You can read it if you want. You're serious. By the ages, you're serious. He laughed as he turned his gaze away from me, the blue light of the tessero bathing his features. He took a step towards it, his eyes daunting up and down as he admired the relic's beauty. How? Must I remind you that I'm not just a simple porter eye anymore? I asked as I pinched the corner of my cape and waved it about. The fabric still grated against my shoulder as I brandished it. I was told that I'd break into it eventually, and it'd soon feel like a second skin. Besides, Evanto's getting old and the registry was looking for a replacement. I said, turning to face the custodian. Isn't that right? His older face was framed in the blue light of the tesserae as well, but his eyes weren't filled with the same wonderment I saw in Cyrus's. The azure wash didn't bring to the surface any measure of awe, reasonably so, for he'd been the custodian for over a decade now. Instead, it highlighted the shadows under his eyes, the crisp mist in the line of his lips. Sure is, Ivantono replied as he stared at the pillar of light. I frowned slightly. There was something in his voice, something hollow. I couldn't quite put a finger on it. Its nature, though, I heard both sorrow and anger, the space between his words. Anyway, there's one last thing we need to do, your brother and I, he said as he walked over to Cyrus, the perplexing tension in his voice disappearing as quickly as it had come. He held out a little contraption, a bloomer. You know how this works, he asked Cyrus. Well, I will soon, won't I? He replied. I suppose so, the old man said, sighing. I'd best get the materials we need then. Materials, Cyrus said, a note of worry in his voice. What, you thought I was going to be this simple? No, my young friend, Evanto chuckled. The bloomer is a complicated piece of equipment. You must be precise and well versed in its mechanisms before I can fully hand it over to your care. Cyrus shot me a glare. I thought I was done studying. I shrugged. Give me just a moment. I'll be back with books, Evento said as he walked away to fetch the materials, leaving my brother and I under the quiet watch of the Tesoro. I stepped up beside him, excited. Wow, this is a long one. Apart from the prospect of burying his nose in pages again, he said, pausing as the mood shifted. Yes, he sniffed and dropped his voice a notch. Thank you, Cicero, for this. It pays better, I said, and was surprised at the edge and forcefulness of my voice. Cyrus did not miss the insinuations. He choked a little, he swallowed. I'll do you proud, I promise. A twinge of guilt twisted my heart. Was I so mistrusting of my brother that my first reaction to his promotion was not to congratulate him, but was instead to dull the moment with a warning? Yet how could I not feel this reservation about his motivations? He seemed genuinely enthusiastic, yet all I could think of is how he might seek to use his new position to somehow further his cause for the Contadani. After all, that seemed to be the only thing on his mind nowadays. Constantly he'd been complaining about how poorly the Contadani were treated in the city, and how someone should do something. But what was he really saying? That we were that someone, that it was our responsibility to... Brother, he said quietly, snapping me out of my thoughts. What's the matter? I felt the muscles in my forehead and around my lips suddenly relax. I'd been frowning, scowling. I sighed, pushing the worry away. I shouldn't be harboring such thoughts for a moment at this. This was a joyful occasion. Be joyful. Nothing, I replied with a smile. I put my hand on his shoulder. I was just thinking about how much less I'll be seeing you around. That's not true, he replied, a broad smile crossing his face. Now you'll know exactly where to find me. No more patrols, no more wandering around the Consenza. Now I'll be here, and now the onus will be on you to come visit, he said, as Infantino returned, his arms cradling a stack of books and parchments. So, come to visit, all right? I laughed and nodded. Of course I would visit. Time proved me wrong. In the years to come, I visited my brother in the Hall of Bearings twice at most. Maybe things would have turned out differently if I hadn't left him alone. Maybe not. The Tesoro sits at the heart of the Hall of Bearings and is one of the few pieces of diamond technology that still works. The Vagilis suspected that Tesoro was an organizational tool that the Diamantic used to catalog and compartmentalize their Mascherines. When the expeditions further into the shadow of the mountain were carried out and the rubble above the Tesoro was cleared, the bright beam of light the Tesoro shot up, piercing the canopy of darkness above them. The discovery had needed to be announced to the city. Each individual could see the beam wherever they were. The contraption known as a bloomer was discovered to close the Tesoro, and the Vagilis have surmised that it is linked to it. Adjusting and rotating sections of the bloomer and bringing it close to the Tesoro results in the beam of light retrieving it and releasing one of the Mascherines that floats around it. Oh, interesting. Okay, so Okay. Cicero scorches the ground as he moves, burning any enemy that touches the fiery trail. Oh, this is my party members. Okay. Strikes a target enemy with fire imbued blade and activates elemental tags. Okay. Skills. Fireblade. Oh, I get to choose taunt or invigorate. Or I could choose creed. Oh, interesting. Okay, what's this? Maestro. Cicero gains focus, health, and mask charge regeneration. He also gains an attack and movement speed boost, reduced skill cooldowns, and takes less damage. That's interesting. Release a fire wave that deals damage to nearby enemies. Enemies that dealt damage this way suffer burn damage over time. This skill generates more threat than usual. Emberville places Embervilles as the caster moves. An Emberville explodes after a while whenever an enemy touches it. Calls down a beam of light that strikes ground and deals damage. Oh my god, look at all the skills. Conjures 3 scarabs. 2 fireballs that rotate around the caster. That's interesting. Summons 2 melee familiars to aid the caster. The familiars will prioritize enemy targets based on threat. Oh, I kind of like that. I do kind of like this, though. Just, it's a passive skill that gains focus, health, and mass charge regeneration. I also gain an attack. I think this is worth it. I think I'm going to go for the focus. This one. I like it. Cast on enemies with any elemental tag. Okay. Oh, interesting. So you can set like their party behavior. That's their skills. And this is the different masks. Oh, very cool. Okay. Okay. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, there's a lot of skills. I did that already, didn't I? Yeah. Click on skills tab. Number of skills remaining. Skill. Upgrade a skill. Click on subsequent nodes. Drag an ability to your selected party member's slot. Use these arrows to scroll through party members. Okay. I have no party members, so. I thought that douche nozzle out here was going to be my party member, but maybe he will be. Maybe they both will be here.
And there he is.
Who's this?
Calden Azarus, mariner of the Citte del Ombre.
You're Calden.
You know him?
Yes. No, well, Razatov mentioned that he had a brother before, but he never said very much.
You knew my brother?
Is there a reason why he's here?
I know my brother's missing. Inspector Corvus came to me 2 weeks ago.
All right. Well, I'm sorry.
It's not that, Inspector. I want to help find my brother in any way I can.
You don't know what you're getting yourself into. You haven't heard anything from Corvus because he's dead.
What?
Listen, Calden. Sail the winds back to your guild while you can. You don't want this.
Why?
Because this is not the business of the Blue Guild. And if any within the White Spires see you with me...
All right then. I suppose all I can ask is that when you find him, please, I'd like to know.
You're just going to let him go?
What?
It's his brother, Cicero.
Mariner! I'd like to at least ask you a few questions first.
Of course.
Oh, this'll rub the old man the wrong way.
All the more reason to do it. Now that both of you are settled, I have business to attend to.
Thank you, Valencio.
Have fun, you two.
Inspectore, I must...
A few questions does not guarantee you a place in this investigation, Mariner. I'd like to make that clear.
Clear as the belt, sir.
Good. Now, we're headed for your brother's office. I'd like to ask you a few things on the way.
Calden. Oh, we had two things here. Okay, so as you progress through the game, you will acquire skill points that can be used to upgrade each character and their abilities. First skill tree is passive. Points in this tree automatically strengthen the character. Yes. To spend points in a skill, either double click. You can cycle through your party. I don't care about that. There was something else here that we just learned. Factions. Then registry. No. Culture. Lore. Nope. Calden. This is the one. Okay. I find it almost unbelievable that I know so little about this man, considering the friendship that I have fostered with his brother. It would seem likely that we've exchanged words about this Calden before, but yet despite all that, I can barely remember Razatov saying anything of him. He told me that he'd had brother before, surely, but scarcely anything more. Who is this enigma of a sibling who's been so shadowed by secrecy? Perhaps I was too hasty in attempting to dismiss him. Perhaps there is more to this investigation he can offer. Okay, let us go.
So, fill me in. When was the last time you saw your brother?
Well,
Memory failing you already?
half a Missouri ago.
2 years. My.
I like that as you're going somewhere, they are adding something to it. It's interesting. The entire game is really good. Considering this is like a pre-release build, I'm very impressed.
And the last time you wrote him a letter then?
We don't write to each other.
No? This is it. His office.
Finally.
Just a moment, Mariner.
Something the matter, Inspectore?
Yes, in fact. You.
Me?
You, Razatov's brother, whom I have heard so little from him about, who last saw him 2 years ago, and during those years you never spoke or wrote to him whatsoever. And now you're suddenly concerned.
Correct.
And you ask if there's something the matter.
Inspectore, the relationship I have with my brother is complicated, but he is still my brother. And if you doubt my concern for him...
I doubt your honesty. Are you certain you know as little about the cases you claim?
Yes. I assure you, on a mariner's moon, I promise, there is nothing I want more than to find my brother.
Let's go in. Here, let's see what we can find.
New notes. Registry Regente. Okay, let's do this. The world of academia belongs to the Vegulists, but the realm of politics is the domain of the Regenti. These are the members of the registry who keep the country in balance, both within and without the walls of the city. They're responsible for reading the economies and controlling as much as possible the ebb and flow of power within the city. The Regente are certainly closer to the Verone's heart compared to the Porterai and the Vegulists, and are the first he turns to when requires the handling of sensitive matters. If those matters are deemed too sensitive even for the Regente, then they are handed off to inspectors, basically. And here we go. The investigation has taken an interesting turn. Razatov's brother, Calden Azaros, has been inserted into the picture. He's hiding something. I wonder what. Perhaps keeping him around wasn't such a bad idea after all. Okay.
My brother slept here?
He was the hardest working of all the Regenti. Couldn't quite draw the line between a personal life and a professional one.
He never did have any desire to start a family.
Despite my efforts.
This is his work?
All the cases that he's had to work with before. He likes keeping them in the open. Watch his collection grow.
This case is large and relatively recent. It's about
You shouldn't...
Cicero Gavar.
And this investigation is not.
You never mentioned how you knew my brother.
Who are you here for?
I didn't mean to upset you.
Just keep looking.
I don't see anything out of the ordinary, Inspectore. Are you certain that there's something to be found here?
No, I'm not.
But yet you're searching through...
Coal?
Coal?
Do you think I'll find anything?
I don't think of a bed of coal when I'm looking for a place to hide things.
Exactly.
What's that?
If you could, Mariner? When you're ready.
Tides? What is that?
They certainly don't look like they're born of the earth.
My brother was keeping Fae. What are you doing?
Those creatures reacted to something.
You think they've got a thing for coals?
I think they've got a thing for this.
What is it?
Hopefully someone can tell us. Put the dresser back in place, please. We should...
Wonderful. Rough tides coming.
As Maestro, Cicero can switch between... class stances at will. What are my class stances? Are these them? Stances grant various pass effects based on each class archetype. Do I know Cicero's move quicker and deal bonus damage when flanking? Passive arrows generate high threat and suffer less damage in combat. Dirges have a ranged auto attack and regenerate focus rapidly. Okay. Let's take less damage. Maybe I should go for the flanking bonus here. Am I flanking?
That hurt.
I can see you can handle yourself in battle.
I am trained as a Pavicier. My physique didn't really cater for the other Medea.
I can imagine. Hold on.
Found something?
Perhaps it was a good thing those Fae attacked us. That mark that you see over there. The mark of Timerius Candor, a glassmith who works in one of the registry's wards. The Quiet Order.
Our next lead?
Let's go.
Okay. Fae, paper Fae. Never before have I seen Fae made of paper. It truly baffles me from whence they came. Certainly Razatov has something to do with this. Perhaps I will learn more as we progress. Okay, that was culture. Magic? No. Contendani. Registry. Fae. The Fae of Ombre have been around since before the city was constructed in the Silent Ages, before the first colonized the lands of Ombre. They were creatures made of stone and wood, which didn't bleed when cut, which didn't age or grow. They were the Fae, and they have persisted through the epochs, continuing to vex the citizens of Ombre. No one knows where the Fae came from or how they managed to sustain their presence. They do not seem to need to eat, breathe, and there have been no sightings of juvenile Fae. All that is known about them is wherever they are found, they are shown signs of adapting to their surroundings. When they are found in caverns, they are often made of stone. When they're found in forests, they're made of bark and branch. What magics of the world have they imbued in them is uncertain, and as much as the Vegelus have tried to understand them, there's been little made in the way of progress. The Fae, though territorial, are fortunately wary enough of humans that they mostly confine themselves to the Dimenticate ruins, where they are mostly common found. Adventurers who are exploring the depths of the ruins, however, must be cautious. Fae are known to be hostile towards any who infringe upon their territories. Interesting. The plot thickens. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this episode up here. We have our new abilities, we have new case notes, and we've learned a little bit more about Kaladin, and we'll look at that next time. But I hope you've been enjoying this look at Masquerade, Songs and Shadows. Until next time, Delgar out.